Keep walking if you want to live, savage. Nadine shoved an open palm into the back of the massive barbarian ahead of her. He went on through the sun-filled temple, but turned his head enough for Nadine to catch the quirk of his brow. His expression spoke clearer than his deep voice could have. You're not big enough to take me, woman. Nadine glared at him. She pointed forward. Move! The brute chuckled and picked up his pace. The glory of the temple loomed over them like an armored titan. High alabaster walls, inlaid with copper, held the glass ceiling that let the sun burn down. The white marble floors gleamed, sending the desert's afternoon rays back out into the endless blue sky. Nadine would have melted from the heat, were it not for the towering arches in the outer walls that let in an arid breeze from every direction. A wave of dry sand spread across the floor, getting into her sandals. Nadine directed the barbarian toward one of those arches, to the shadowy alcove of its opening. She glanced around the sanctum at the only other person present, a lowly acolyte sweeping sand off a golden altar. He was well out of earshot, as long as she managed to keep her voice low. No promises. The barbarian stepped into the nook and turned a bearded grin on her. We can wait for the actual wedding night, you know. Nadine gritted her teeth. Enough! His smile stretched. Nadine had to tilt back her head to glare up into his eyes, a rarity for her. She'd never seen a larger man in all her life, not even among his Dokiri kind. His thick arms and broad chest declared him every bit the warrior the axe hanging at his hip implied. He was handsome. She had to concede that much. Begrudging herself the attraction would only cloud her head. His brown hair was long, and, like hers, lightened by the sun, though his locks hung loose against his shoulders, whereas hers were braided at her scalp and curled at the ends. He was pale like milk, but there was something far more interesting about his skin. Like his brother's, his arms were a maze of self-inflicted scars. The mystery of those marks stirred a dangerous curiosity in her as she thought of how they continued beneath his borrowed Ebronian clothes. Nadine gritted her teeth, drawing herself away from thoughts of his masculine appeal. Who do you think you are? I'm Magnus the Vast. He wiggled his brow suggestively. I'm sure you remember. How could she forget? They'd met the day she'd told his brother to keep his filthy hands off her sister, and in that brief time,